All right, hello and welcome to another episode of Moose's Gear Go Review. This is a live stream. It's been a long time since I've done one of these, and I'm not in my ideal location, but you got to work with what you got. So I apologize for it being slightly blown out here. Let's see if we can adjust that ever so slightly. It is what it is. All right, guys, so welcome. I want to say thank you to everyone, and I hope everyone has made it through this year so far. We're coming down to the last moments before um, the end of the year, and I just wanted to kind of do a recap. I have been really busy, and I failed to do a full video on my favorite knives of the year as I have in the past. With that being said, I'm able to at least do this for you. And I kind of want to talk about a couple of things. First off, I want to talk about the my favorite new knives that I got this year so far. I've got a couple of different knives and gear over this past year, but there's certain ones that I have stood out and made it into my weekly rotation as far as like EDC knives or gear. But today we'll specifically be talking about knives. And then ultimately, I'll be choosing what is my favorite knife of the year. Now, that being said, realize that one, my favorite knife of the year might not be a brand new knife. It might be a knife that I've had for years that I just fondly love and can't find a knife better to replace it or use it more often. So there's that. But two, just kind of I'll hopefully explain why I like this knife in particular over other knives. Now, obviously, there's a dozen of us, or probably hundreds of us, knife reviewers, EDC reviewers now at this point, and we all have our own opinions and our preferences or our brand loyalties or whatever. Um, and I'll say I like to focus more on a usable tool, something that's comfortable, something that fits well in hand as well as in pocket. And that's kind of where I'm going for. I don't necessarily have any brand loyalty, though I definitely see a trend from brand to brand at times where, over a year or two, this one brand might really be hitting things on the head, or this other brand is starting to slip and like become kind of obsolete or overpriced, or just they're not listening to the community. So I don't really have brand loyalties. Obviously, I focus on production knives. It's just more affordable. It's more practical for the general consumers out there, and that's what I focus on. So yeah, that's some insight into how I'm thinking about this. That being said, I guess I'll talk about some of the knives that I have here, and obviously there are some I'm a little bit mixed up and whatnot. But I do uh, have some that I've gotten this year that I do really like, and I think we'll start here now. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is the Civivi Baby Banter. I believe this came out last year, maybe at the beginning of this year. But either way, I'll consider it this year because I don't think I really got it until I got it this year. So, but we'll see. I feel like I definitely didn't carry it until this year. So, um, but we have this, and this is an awesome knife designed by Ben Peterson, and it is Civivi. It's based off the full size Banter, the Wii Banter, and super dope. I think it has Nitro V blade steel, and just an awesome little folder, deep carry pocket clip, reversible tip up, left to right side carry. Um, let's see. I'm trying to remember in chronological order, but I can't. But I believe this guy. This is the Tazula ATCF. It's a Tazula Tactical ATCF Light. So I'm not sure, but I think this might be a Blade HQ exclusive. Um, but I do have the link for it in the description below when you're ready for it. But definitely one that it's a newer brand. It's I think his first consumer production models. The designer literally wrote the book on tactical knives, but I have found this to be an excellent size, shape, and design for everyday carry. So EDC carry, and it's really smooth. There's a good fidget factor, especially for being a liner lock. Pretty impressive. But you got a cool drop point blade. You got a fuller there slash thumb groove for opening it up. Flipper deployment. I think this is also, yep, Nitro V blade steel. And just wicked little knife. Really digging it. Next up, I believe, is one of these two. We'll go with this one. This is the QSP Penguin. These have been out for years. I finally got my hands on one, and I did an unboxing of it. And it was the crushed carbon fiber, the blue one or something. And I saw my buddy Ray over at Everyday City Carry. He reviewed a dozen or so different variants of this, from canvas micarta scales to linen micarta or copper scales and whatnot. This one, after getting that crushed carbon fiber one, I loved it. I was like, okay, I get it. I was a little weirded out by the handle. I thought it was kind of blocky and not too romantic looking. You have all these hardware, just looks kind of like meh. But once you get it in hand, it's actually a very usable, functional design. That sheep's foot blade is just excellent, nice and straight. You have jimping all in the right spots, but the surprising thing again is fairly fidgetable with how smooth it is on deployment. So, um, yeah, just overall, it's a reliable knife, and for the price, the standard one is like around $40 or less, I believe, and it comes in a number of different handle scales, colors, and variations. D2 steel. This one in particular is the Knife Center exclusive, with kind of like these tiger stripe, black and white topographical G10 scales that just look really sick. And I feel like the camera can't do it justice, but just know it's awesome. Deep carry pocket clip, flow through construction. But two, this variant is S35VN. So one of the best priced knives for under $100 to get S35VN blade steel. So pretty sweet, sweet deal there. So definitely check that out if they still got one. If you're looking for a higher level QSP Penguin, that's still under $100 with that upgraded blade steel. Really killer deal. So really digging this. And then last one is this guy. This is the NAFCO Landers. This is Ben Peterson's company. Now, this is his first in-house production knife. Obviously, he's not making it in-house, but it's under his branding. So it's not Civivi or though I think it still might be manufactured by one of those, by the We company. But, correct me if I'm wrong. Either way, he came out with this knife, and I wasn't too excited about it at first. It seemed fairly plain. I mean, it's a very basic looking knife. You got a drop point blade. It is angled down a little bit away from your knuckles, which is kind of a different kind of a look. And you just kind of have this almost continuous swoop across the back, but fairly neutral handle, but yet still kind of has that clip on the end that's kind of iconic for, his other banter knives, that little chunk there. So, definitely a Ben Peterson design, but more plain and unimpressive. But that being said, once I got it in hand, I really started looking at the overall design and features of this knife and just kind of the thought process that went into it. And I found that this thing is a home run. And the big selling point with it is the fact that it has hot swappable scales. And basically all that means is, well, first off, I'll say it's not as hot swappable as you think. It isn't like you can just like click them off and like pull them off. Yeah, actually, you do have to unscrew 4 screws on both sides to get the scales off. But when it comes to hot swappable, it means that you don't have to completely take the knife apart. You still retain the pivot screw in there, as well as the handle scales are still bolted in with the spacers, or the liners are, and it still is a skeletonized functional knife without the handle scales or the pocket clip. But that being said, the knife stays together. Then all you have to do is replace the scales and put those 4 screws in and reattach the pocket clip, and then you got a whole new look or vibe for that knife. So, it's pretty cool. I still need to review this knife. I still actually need to review all of these newer ones. Um, I don't even know if I reviewed the Baby Banter yet. So I'm a little bit behind on that, but this knife is pretty neat. So it looks plain at first, very simple, but at the end of it, it's actually a really well designed knife, and I really enjoyed carrying it so far. So that being said, I apologize if the audio's poor, but like I said, I haven't done a live stream in a while, so we'll see. Um, that being said, though, let's see, copy the link. Just gonna do a quick thing here and try to get a few people in, but if not, it's all good. So let's talk about knife of the year. Now, if you go back in my videos, you'll see I have different knives um, of the year that I have had, and one of them was a Swiss Army knife, I believe. But basically, the knife of the year is the one that I enjoy carrying the most, and so this actually has EDC pocket time. Now, it's not necessarily the one I use the most, but it's definitely like the one I enjoy carrying as of lately, or the most. And yeah, so out of these knives here, I even threw in the Odium. So these are some of the most carried knives I have. So I got the Civivi Baby Banter, Civivi Odium, the Tazula ATCF Light, the Penguin, and the Lander. Out of these, since I've gotten them, I do really like the Penguin, but I haven't carried it that much, and so this is definitely not the knife of the year for me. I love it, but it's not there. I carried the heck out of the Odium when I had it. I still carry it every so often. Just an awesome, awesome blade. Really love the design. Unique look, but very practical and functional. And once again, I kind of stopped carrying it for one of these other knives. Now, these 3 knives, I just love to carry. Now, the knife of the year isn't necessarily the one I carried the most, but it's one that I really enjoy, and I do like carrying it. And it isn't necessarily the one I use the most either, but it's definitely the one I think overall best bang for your buck and a really cool design or whatnot. Baby Banter, I love this thing. Super lightweight. If you're looking for a nice, compact 4-finger grip on the knife that's light and really smooth, I do really dig this knife. And I'll say that this isn't the knife of the year, but it could have been. All 3 of these could have been. So, coming to these, the Tazula, I carry the heck out of this one. It is a bit slimmer profile, and I don't know, it's just super cool knife, but not the knife of the year. The knife of the year is the NAF Lander for me. So I just got done talking about it. This knife is so sick. Like I said, it's so plain, but you can get different colored scales. You can make it purple, blue, green, whatever you want. Different scale materials. People are printing it. It's an open source CAD file, so you can actually print your own scales um, out of whatever materials. And it's just super cool. Now, the thing that I have come to really appreciate about this design, and thanks to Ben Peterson, is that one, it has a plain edge, flat blade, drop point, thumb stud opening, jimping right in the right spot, and it just locks it in enough. The ergos on the knife aren't like spectacular, but they're enough that they should fit most people's hand. It just has a nice even curve. And but the thing that really, really impresses me the most with this knife is the flushness of all the hardware. So you have your deep carry fold-over pocket clip mounted by 2 screws. But if you look, all the hardware from the pivot pin to the mounting screws for the scales, even into that filler for the pocket clip, just spectacular. So well done. The liners are skeletonized. There's a little bit of weight reduction in there. Liner lock and then ball bearings. This thing is just smooth, super fidgety, and that is why this is the knife of the year for me. I think Ben nailed it. And there's like no overly obnoxious branding on it too. So just an awesome, awesome blade. And that is my knife of the year for 2022. Boom, the Naflander. So just to recap, what is my most used knife besides the knife of the year? I mean, I use this thing all the time, and I haven't had it that long, but I can't stop using this knife. Now, this knife is one of those knives. I don't necessarily carry it all the time, though I do carry it a lot, but I always have it sitting out, and it's one of the smoothest drop shutty knives out there. It's just absolutely silent when you open it. And it's thin, and because of that, if I'm going someplace where I needed a little bit more real estate in my pocket, it isn't bulging out, I take this guy. But this is just so much fun to use, and it's just great for slicing. I cut English muffins with it in the morning, cut open packages. This is just the perfect box opener, and with that blade shape, it just looks awesome. And this is another one that's fairly flush all the way across. True deep carry pocket clip here. And yeah, a hidden lanyard post. But there's a little bit of a bulge there on the pivot pin. But other than that, just awesome. And that logo on the pivot pin is just super cool. So the Tazula ATC F Lite is the overall most used knife. So there you have it, guys. Those are some of my knife recaps. Definitely check these out. If you haven't checked out the Naflander, just super awesome. And if you're looking for an awesome budget blade, go with the QSP Penguin. This thing won't let you down. It's built rock solid. And you can even get an upgraded S35V version for like $70, still under $100 for S35V. So really good stuff. So there you have it, guys. I want to say thank you so much. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I want to say I hope you had an amazing year, and I hope your next year is even better. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and Happy New Year, and peace. I'll see you next year.